What a story I have to bring you today. If you have not yet lost faith in the Secret Service and the FBI, the letter agencies as a whole, the U.S. government, whatever division you want to take, then today's story should seal that fate forever. Because they got him. 24 hours before Matthew Thomas Crooks fired that shot at Trump's ear, of course not aiming for his ear at the time, another failed assassin was arrested. I know, story nobody hears, of course not. How's mainstream media not framing it in the right way? Why are they missing all the details again? I bet you know the answer, and if you don't, I'm going to give you all the details in just 1 minute. Before we get started in today's broadcast, if you can again, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Double check if you think you are. If you're new here, welcome home. You finally found the place where real news is brought to you with references and resources, not just chatter. It's what we work hard to do here because we're part of Restricted Republic, the platform Lisa Haven and I created, the unfiltered, uncensored news channel that gives you all the stories you've been looking for, the ones you don't hear anymore, exclusive content that is only at Restricted Republic. And we need you there today. We, of course, continue to work on our public platforms to drive traffic to the site that we developed out of our own blood, sweat, and tears. No sponsors, no advertisers. Again, at restrictedrepublic.com. Use discount code INDEPENDENCE today. That's your means of supporting me. If you like what I'm doing here, you want me to continue to bring it to you, I need you to get to Restricted Republic. I need you to subscribe. And I'm just not just asking for you to subscribe. I'm giving you a discount. Discount code INDEPENDENCE, monthly checkout, $4 a month for 2 years plus 14 days for free. And guess what? You can cancel anytime. We're not holding you hostage because if you don't like it, you're more than welcome to leave. But I promise once you're there, that's the last thing you're going to do. Get to restrictedrepublic.com right now. But now, let's get back to this broadcast. Once upon a time, we heard a story about U.S. officials saying that the Secret Service received intelligence about Iranian plot to assassinate Donald Trump. Do you remember that story? It was all over mainstream media, of course it was. CNN, exclusive Secret Service ramped up security. Well, we know how that worked out. After intel of Iran plot to assassinate Trump. No known connection to the shooting. So we'll disregard, I guess, the 24-hour difference between arrest and shots fired. I'll get there. In that CNN news article, it stated U.S. authorities obtained intelligence from a human source in recent weeks on a plot. Remember that, from a human source. In recent weeks on a plot by Iran to try to assassinate Donald Trump, a development that led to Secret Service increasing security around the former president. Of course, missing the primary place where someone could have fired at him and did. But they increased security. No drones. That's right. No assessment team ahead of time. Nobody blocking the roof, but they increase security. That should instill a great deal of confidence in each and every one of us. Secret Service learned of the increased threat from this threat stream. I'll tell you what that threat stream was because we know now. And they continued to track the latest reporting. 24 hours prior, this person was arrested. What was there to track? United States Secret Service shared the information with the detail lead, and the Trump campaign was made aware of an evolving threat. Arrested the day prior. Just going to keep framing this in. Wonder why people ask so many questions. In response to the increased threat, Secret Service surged resources and assets. They just continue to spout that over and over and over again. Donald J. Trump could have died that day. You don't want to declare that you surged any resources. But they continue to, don't they? U.S. detected potential Iranian plot to kill Trump separate from Saturday's shooting. The Trump campaign was informed in passing by the Secret Service of a general uptick in threats against Mr. Trump. They've been surveilling this person for months. FBI undercover agents involved. But they just inform, Trump in passing. A general uptick in threats. But was not made aware of any specific dangers related to Iranian individuals or groups. But they had specific details. So you just chose not to tell Trump? It's what all the articles state. It's impossible to look by. According to a person briefed on the interactions between the campaign and Secret Service, it was not clear what, if anything, Mr. Trump himself was told. Officials would not discuss how they had come by the information, but said their conclusion was drawn from multiple strands of intelligence collected by multiple agencies that were not clear until they were all put together into a single picture. The person was arrested 24 hours prior. Just want to keep saying that over and over again. While Iran had targeted Americans before trying to assassinate a former president now running for his old office would be a dramatic escalation that could risk war. Interesting statement. So U.S. officials were trying to determine if they were merely aspirational or if there was a concrete plan. They already knew there was a concrete plan. You'll see the court documents here in just one moment. One U.S. official, briefed on the intelligence, was sharply critical of the Secret Service for allowing the Pennsylvania government to get so close, arguing the agency's knowledge of the Iranian threat should have prompted it to be more cautious. No crap, Sherlock. Thanks for the 411. Remembering the key date, a timeline of the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump, AP News. July 13th, former President Donald Trump was target of an assassination attempt at a Pennsylvania rally again on July 13th. July 13th. There's a reason. I'm repeating. United States of America versus Asif Merchant, the defendant. I'm sure you've heard part of this story, but let's connect a few dots for you, shall we? There's the defendant. Is a citizen of Pakistan, allegedly, according to the U.S. government, working with Iran, of course. July 13th. Was informed in passing. No specific intelligence. A general uptick in threats. Multiple strands of intelligence. Not clear until they were put together in a single picture. Trying to determine. Remember all those statements I made, and then let's tie it together with the court document. Because they started in April of 2024. Merchant orchestrated a plot to assassinate U.S. government officials on U.S. soil. The confidential source introduced Merchant to two purported hitmen, because that's what he was here to do. To buy hitmen. To go after U.S. officials. To go after hard drives. To protest, but it goes further. April 10th, Merchant flew from Pakistan to Istanbul and then on to Houston, Texas on or about April 13th. But we just, we're still trying to piece this together. April 22nd, Merchant traveled from Texas to New York to meet with the confidential source in person. He told the confidential source that he and his uncle from Pakistan, I'm going to go a little bit larger so you can read this, in Pakistan sold yard-dyed clothing. Well, they're going to use that as a cover here in just a few moments as we move down. June 3rd. We're going to advance forward. Merchant flew from Texas to LaGuardia Airport in New York. The confidential source picked up Merchant from the airport and drove him to a hotel in Nassau County, New York. Merchant then made a finger gun motion with his hand, indicating that the opportunity was related to a killing. Trying to hire a hitman. Confidential source. We don't know anything. We don't have specifics. We're working on it. Remember, July. This is June. The next day, Merchant met with the confidential source in a hotel room and described his scheme in more detail. Gave him cell phones, gave him covered cell phones, 3 different plots, stealing documents or USB drives, planning a protest, and killing a politician or government official. Merchant stated that the victim would be targeted here, meaning in the United States. So you can read where I'm at right here. Targeted here, meaning in the United States. But we'll continue to move forward. While in the hotel room, Merchant took out a napkin and placed objects on a napkin to illustrate a potential assassination plot, including a target, the person to be killed, a crowd, surrounding buildings, and streets. And he began to plan the potential assassination scenario. There's him in the photo. There's his napkin. There's the plan. Merchant instructed the confidential source it'd be better to talk in code, that the phrase yarn dye was a code he used in the past when speaking to confidential. Oh, wait now. He's used this before. So is there the potential that he was plotting with multiple people Of course, we'll never find that out now, will we? That may go to show more incompetence. Mershon also stated the plot would occur after he left the United States. Guess what day he was going to leave? Did you guess it? Don't worry, I'm going to get there in a second. On June 5th, Mershon met with the confidential source again and expressed impatience. Why is it taking so long to find a hitman? So they started going to the clubs, trying to find one, trying to recruit one. On or about June 10th, Mershon spoke to the confidential source over the phone and discussed meeting a hitman in person later that evening. During the meeting, Mershon presented himself as a representative in the U.S., indicated that other people he worked for outside the U.S., and he worked for other people outside the U.S., using the plural tense indicated he was working with people overseas. He stated that we would give the instructions, including the target name, to the hitman either the last week of August 2024 or the first week of September 2024. On or about June 12th of 2024, Mershon met with one unidentified, I can't remember what UC means again, and obtained the cellular phone from the undercover, officer. And he's going to pay you $5,000. Don't worry, they have evidence of that too. June 13th, Mershon met with the confidential source and wrote out coded language on a piece of paper. What meant t-shirts meant protest. What he described as lightest work. Flannel shirts meant stealing, which was heavier work. Fleece jacket, the heaviest work, was the third task. Committing the act of the game, indicating murder, as previously discussed. The phrase denim jacket meant sending money. Oh, they had this well plotted out, didn't they? Mershon also indicated an affinity for Iran. They want to tie Iran into this, and told the confidential source that the money they were using for the plot was halal, meaning permitted. On the 18th, he called his associates, asking for assistance to get the $5,000. Confidential source gets a call from someone they believe in Pakistan, asking if they received the $5,000 yet. On or about June 21st, Mershon traveled from Boston to New York to make the advance payment to the hitman for the assassination plot, and there is the $5,000 he handed over. Now, we're going to move forward. We're doing this. To which Mershon responded, yes, absolutely. He reiterated that the plan for the UC is to go forward with his three plots: the assassination, the protest, and the stealing of documents. Mershon subsequently made flight arrangements and planned to travel out. Remember, the hit cannot take place until I leave the United States. What was the date of the assassination attempt? July 13th. When was Mershon going to leave the United States? Friday, July 12th, 2024, the day before. They arrest him July 12th, 24 hours before the first shot is fired. But you're not supposed to connect any of this. You're not supposed to even consider that the two are any way, shape, or form related. All we are doing is reciting the evidence. They found the keywords. They found his money. The photograph of a piece of paper with the code words below. An assassination attempt. Arrested Friday, July 12th, 24 hours before. Now think about that for a moment. We didn't have specific intelligence. We didn't know what was going on. We didn't know if something was going to happen. No one had arranged an assassination attempt. We don't know nothing. Pakistani national with ties to Iran charged in connection with foil plot to assassinate a politician or U.S. government official out of the United States Attorney's Office. Oh, who wrote up this beauty? About the defendant from Pakistan, a.k.a. Iran. Let's go forward. For years, the Justice Department has worked aggressively to counter Iran's brazen and unrelenting efforts to retaliate against American public officials for the killing of Iranian General Soleimani, said Attorney General Merrick Garland. The Justice Department will spare no resource to disrupt and hold accountable those who would carry out Iran's lethal plotting against American citizens, and will not tolerate attempts by authoritarian regime to target American public officials and endanger America's national security. Oh, the threat that was coming from Iranian officials. I guess this was the guy, of which you had no specifics, but yet you had specifics. You weren't sure if you could put it together, but your confidential human sources were already talking to him and receiving money for a hitman, for an attempted assassination on a politician, leaving the day before, being arrested the day before, Thomas Matthew Crooks takes a shot on Donald J. Trump, and you didn't increase security? You didn't disallow Trump to even get on that stage? And then you find out that there's a threat. You should have quickly been able to associate the two, but I guess, you were too busy for that. Too busy to make any decisions. So you allowed Trump to take the stage, unprotected, unguarded, against a hitman on the roof, a shooter on the roof. Thomas Matthew Crooks fired that bullet 24 hours after the Department of Justice, the FBI, and more than likely the Secret Service were informed that they had a man from Pakistan working for Iran hiring a hitman to assassinate a U.S. politician. If that doesn't leave you speechless, I don't know what will. They'll shelve this story any way they can. They'll stop talking about it as quickly as possible. But that is how clean cut the details of all of this are. My friends, I was left speechless when I saw this, not by the report, because it's something we definitely expected to see, but rather by the lack of coverage by any media outlet to even show the coincidental dates. There are 24 hours apart, and not tie that into the failure of the security apparatus to even remotely change history by informing Trump what happened, by advancing Secret Service, by assuring he had protection, by upping actual security, by putting drones in the air, by securing the roof, by putting out an advance team, none of which was done. Although they say they had no specifics, they had an arrest and an investigation that was months prior. You can get no more specific than that, which means everything that was published was once again misleading, misinformation. It is such a travesty. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justus Knight, signing out.